Yeah, I was given one of the few opportunities ever to actually stream at the place today, which is very rare on a Saturday. But the reason I'm not doing it there is because there's uh there's somebody else there, but not they're not like in the same room as me or anything, but they are up. Like usually they might get up on a weekend probably from somewhere between 12 or 1. But since I had like heard them moving around or whatever, I didn't want to like run the risk that I try to stream and then they come in there or interrupt it. So I decided to come up here where I know I'll be safe from anyone saying something or botching it or whatever. Um, we talked a little bit in the past about how expensive movie tickets are, and it just feels like they cost more and more and more and more every year. And I mentioned how when I went to see film probably about 2 weeks ago, and I saw it twice. When I went by myself, it was 14. The second time was 26. I went with somebody else. And I basically decided, you know what? There's about maybe 4 or 5 films I'm kind of curious about seeing this year. And three of them have now come out. And there's another two still begging to come out way later in the year. And I basically said, you know what? I'm gonna start waiting until reviews come out to even get excited at the prospect of seeing this stuff. Because when in all the lead up to the Flash, when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see it. I'm so excited to see again Keaton, Michael Shannon as Zod. Just various actors they were bringing back from previous films. Um, but after just kind of like thinking about it and reading stuff that people are saying, and then like I remember the first sign of trouble was how delayed it was. That was already like a bad sign. But then also then a lot of the during one of the interviews that Shannon had with I don't know who it was, but he was talking about how his character wasn't really an in-depth role like it was in Man of Steel, and how he's more of a plot device to forward Barry's story. And I was thinking to myself, it's really lame to bring back Zod, who's like considered one of the like a favorite among the DCEU villains because he actually had a personality and a goal that you could understand even if you didn't agree with it. Um, and be like, well, instead of having any type of thought provoking interactions with him where he's like, hey, so can if the multiverse can be changed and things can be altered, can I go back in time to restore my planet or make sure those circumstances, instead of anything like that, they just have him show up and he has like a little tiny clip on TV, and then he's like, I'd be very surprised if he has more than maybe 5 minutes of screen time. And he's also a baby uh, annihilator. It's really wild to think that they wanted to put him in the like. It's so hard to watch Batman '89 and Returns and like think, man, in 30 years you're gonna have this actor come back and they're gonna do this thing where they try to say that his universe is now the same one. It's wild. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, Jam, how are you? Look, I know you can't come to the stream for that long because you're at that meeting of those George Soros funded internet commentators. So I'll make this very brief. I've been really swamped this week with these stupid places. I actually went to this what happened? There was a job fair that I was trying to go to yesterday. Job fairs, it's where it's like a bunch of companies that will have like material like a booth and people that advertise the company, promote it, try to get people to like be interested in working for them. I go down, it's downtown. I go downtown, and I don't know if you've been downtown, saying these, just any city, but like, a lot of times, at least in California, it's very difficult to find somewhere to park that isn't, like wanting you to pay money. Like you almost have to park in a whole other section of the city to even just be able to get to find somewhere that you're not going to have to like see a sign that says 2 hour parking or have a little pay meter by it. And the reason I'm very reluctant to pay places to park is because about 5 months ago, I went to an interview for this casino company. This, one of those places that works in a casino. They had me pay for 2 hour parking because that's the minimum of amount of you know, that you can pay for. Why these people spoke to me for I don't even think it was 10 minutes. It was like less than 15 minutes, and they ultimately didn't hire me, didn't follow it up, nothing. So the only thing I gained from going out to see them was a waste of gas and a waste of money. And the theory that I had, and I told one of my relatives about this, is that that company has some kind of thing going, and it is a scam. But I'm gonna tell you how it goes. They have some kind of partnership with that casino place where when they get people to apply for them and meet them in person, downtown, they tell them, "Oh, park here, right? You pay for your parking, and then you can come meet us." And they have no intention of hiring 90 something percent of the people that they bring down. I don't even think they hire anybody at this point, but they have no intention of hiring over a majority of the people that they bring down there. So they have people. They're like leeches. They have people that they get to come down there, make pay for parking, and then they get a piece of whatever the percentage is for that place that stores the car while you go and meet with them, and they sit there and pretend like they're interested in you for 10 minutes. But yeah, with that job fair, I drove down there. It was like 40 minutes. Then I parked I thought it was a few blocks down. And so the thing is, most of the job fairs I've seen, they have like a window, like, hey, we're hosting a job fair here from 11 to 3. And that means you can come in at any point between 11 and 3 and get, I'm not going to say hired, but you come there, you fill out stuff, whatever. This job fair they told me come at 11:20. No idea when it's going to end. No idea when it's like how many people are. Nothing. Just come at 11:20. And as I get out the car and it's like 11 something else, it's still not time for it to start. But I'm thinking to myself, here I am possibly having to walk 40 minutes by foot. I shouldn't say by foot, but like possibly having to walk 40 minutes and be late to this like thing where it's very likely they're not going to hire me anyway. So I just as I started walking down the street, I said, this is stupid. I'm tired of this. So I walked back to the car and I left. I didn't go to that dumb thing. I tried to, but the whole paying for parking and they're showing up at this specific time for something that usually you walk into. Like I've never seen a job fair where you have to show up at a specific time. I've never seen that before. So I thought it was weird. Yeah, I said the hell with it. People always want you to feel bad if you don't jump through the hoops for every single company that is claiming that they're hiring somebody. Like I can't tell you how many times I've just driven down the street and seen someone put up like a now hiring sign, and then there's like nothing comes out of it. Sorry you had to waste time on that BS. Well, I didn't even really want to go because it already seemed weird to me that they were having you come at a specific time. Like I swear I've never seen that with any company that calls itself trying to hire people. Like when a group of them team up together, host a job fair. But I mainly went because that same lovely relative, the one that initiated the homeless saga, they kept asking me about it like for like 2 or 3 days straight, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just attend and feign believing that this is going to go anywhere. Um, but yeah, if they hadn't have been annoying me about it, I probably wouldn't have even bothered because it was already I don't even like job fairs anyway because this is just my opinion, but it feels weird to me to like sit in a room with a bunch of companies at a desk that have employees that all smile. Yeah, I don't like that relative either. You're not alone. Oh, they're trying to remind me about this holiday. I don't even have calendars open. I don't know how that notification went on. No, you're not the only one that doesn't like them. Trust me, they're very lucky I don't reveal certain things on here. But yeah, man, I'm trying to call. It's not like I just hope you understand. The reason it's taken me a while to call up the Secretary of State is because when you're around very nosy people that really don't need to know stuff, that like to ear hustle, and then you have to like go outside and sometimes like you don't when you call these government run um agencies, you don't just get somebody to talk to over the phone. Usually there's some answering service and a bunch of redirects. So I'm just bracing myself for that again. But yeah, that's why it's taken a while because it's a process just to talk to anybody now. I even had that same company. I mentioned this to you before. That company that wanted me to like show them my high school diploma and drive to people's houses for some job that isn't even full time. It's like part time, and then you're like spending gas money having to like drive to these different people that are up anywhere between 10 to 25 miles away from where you live, and they're talking about only reimbursing you 67 cents per mile, which means that if you drive for 10 miles you're going to get back maybe like $6. So I just said this isn't worth it, and I said it wasn't worth it because all the ridiculous stuff I even had to do to try and locate an alternative to a high school diploma, and also the fact they weren't paying me full time, because again it's like, what's the point of working somewhere where you can't even take care of yourself anyway? So I just like stopped with them altogether. Like I was done. I get a call from some guy on Wednesday and he identifies himself as working with them. And the second I hear that name of that company, I hang up. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys must really. It's so funny. It's like part of me almost feels slightly bad because on the one hand, they must be really desperate for people to like still be reaching out to someone who hasn't said anything to them in over a week. But then the other part of it is I don't feel bad because like look at what the deal you want me to sign up for. Work for this stupid company where they don't even pay you full time, but they expect you to drive around the whole damn city to people's houses and waste all your gas. Remember, I told you what the wage was, Jem. It's like 1950. So if you're only working 4 hours, that's about $80 or like under 80, probably a little bit over under 80, a little bit over 80, like somewhere around $80. So, and you know that like a full tank of gas is like 50, $60. So that means that if gas by itself would basically eat up almost all of what you make in one day. That's why I said this isn't smart. Like, who the hell wants to sign up for that? I see why it's taking them so long to find somebody. Who wants to sit there and have some job where they can't afford to take care of themselves? I swear, everyone wants to do part time, part time, part time, part time, part time. Like, why is it so hard? And I said this before, I'll never understand why it's so difficult to just get a 9 to 5 job. It doesn't make any sense to me why that's just become impossible. I really don't understand it. It's really nuts. Everyone wants to do this half measure crap. It's really annoying. No, it wasn't Juneteenth, Jem. It was Father's Day. I already said before, when you have as many people that are close to you just die as I have, and it's like back to back, where it just feels like every year someone you've cared about and or loved just you know, disappears before your eyes, uh, you stop caring about these holidays and like all these little celebrations. It's whatever to me at this point. Well, Jim, I'd ask you to put in a good word for me, but I know you're hated by the post office. You treated somebody really poorly over there. Unfortunately, that's life. Well, if that is, then how do other people have full time jobs? Like, I'll never believe this is normal. A lot of those people, those same companies where these douchebags will hire somebody full time, will be sitting there from 9 in the morning to 5 at night, or even longer than that, whenever they feel like it. So I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. Luck, right place, right time. Yeah. Well, unless I can summon up some four-leaf clovers or some other alternative, and I don't know. People network. Well, I tell you, that's why it's so ironic thinking about that relative, because it's like that person I know for a fact they got their job from one of their relatives. Like, I'm not, and when I say help, I'm not talking about like, oh, they send them a link or something. That's their idea of help. They were assisted in getting their job by another relative who already worked for the company that put in the work for them. So it's like, imagine having this person that got their job from someone else helping them, and then their idea of help is like the most hands-off nonsense ever. What are you not willing to do? Jim, I'm gonna just say this because I really don't want to start getting into this whole thing of like what's my fault and what isn't. Uh, every instance where I've been offered a job, I've almost always taken it. The very few exceptions are when it's part time because I can't afford to live off of that, or if it's something that I deem as too extreme. Which, for one example, is when I had this canvassing company hire me, and then it was understood by me that they would have me like knocking on doors or whatever. And only after they hired me did they tell me that I'd had to memorize some giant 15 sentence, 3 paragraph saying before the day I started working for them, and I only had like less than a week to do that. So very, very rarely do I just get hired by someone like, nah. So I already explained to you why I'm not taking up that company. It's a hassle to have to dig for a diploma that you haven't seen in years. Have you tried hospital work? No. But again, my point I'm making is it was a hassle to have to dig for this document that I don't even use or have any. It has like no relevance to anything I do, period. And then like at the same time know that all the stuff you're doing just to get this little piece of paper or get a picture of it, is, I mean, again, they can call up the school if they don't believe I graduated from there. But also, um you're reminding yourself that even if you start working for these people, you're only going to make 80, what is it, 80 bucks a day, and then have to drive all over the place, which is like already cost 60. So most of the money you make is just going to go to gas. Like, it's stupid. So I'm just tired of being blamed for this stuff. I really am. I have enough fingers pointed at me. Oh, don't start singing that song. Start your own business. Dude, that's like the most generic like line of, you could tell when you're at the end of your rope and people have nothing constructive to say, they just generically spout that off. Start your own business. I'm telling you, they don't even like try to try to say anything that makes any sense. Start your own business. I'm really not joking. When you see the way people act and the types of things that they do, like you would almost think, well, Jem, it's not as simple as they make it sound. Start your own business doing what? How is it going to be financed? How can you guarantee that it will make you any semblance of an income? That's why I said they don't think. They just spattle off things. It's really sad. Well, let's see if this person's gonna hit me too. I still can't believe that guy like actually just hit me and just kept on like walking, like just slam your door into somebody's car, see somebody in there and whatever. Like and again, I can be sympathetic when it's something like, hey, like I give the example, I parked somewhere one day, I came back and there was a car parked in front of me and right behind me, and like the one in front of behind me in particular was like just all the way squeezed up on the backside. And if some car got hit in that instance, um, I'm much more defensive about like, hey, they boxed me in, but it's like this guy sees where I'm parked and parks all up close to it, and then when he can't get out, he's like, all right, I guess just slam into this car. Jim, don't talk to me about making a move. No one who applies for as many jobs as I do and goes to as much of this application and fair crap is not making a move. So let's not even play that game. That's like approaching Twilight Zone levels of logic there. The only person trying to change things is the reason why it stays the same. Man, I remember that one time I was reading Jim's biography and they were talking about how you went to go see your ex-wife and right after you came outside, you had a car in front of you and a car behind you, and you were so angry you slammed into the front and the back of the car in front of you and behind you and just kept on driving. You didn't even care how scratched up they were, how bent up they were, how bent up you were. You're like, "Ah, whatever, it doesn't matter to me." You said your rage had just completely possessed you at that point. You saw nothing but red. I still can't believe I watched a superhero film where the main character puts a baby in the microwave. I really never thought I'd be saying that, but wow. That's what your lead protagonist does. Yeah, I haven't been really impressed with the way that Jem has handled his romantic endeavors. I think he's been very hostile and aggressive and very mean spirited towards his various women across his years. Woman put her two kids in a hot oven for a few years back. No, no, I'm not. Okay, I'm not questioning if that actually happens in real life or not. I'm just saying that in the context of that film, it was supposed to be because these kids were like falling off a building, and he wanted them to not splatter on the ground. So he said putting it in there would make it safe. It's just ironic that that's a thing that if anytime you say put a baby in the oven in real life, it's meant to be bad or deadly. And then in the case of this film, they stick it in one and try to like save it or as for the cause of saving it, the purpose rather. No, Jim, I'm not saying that evil people don't exist that do wicked stuff to children. I mean, I'll never forget that one woman that when she was mad at her boyfriend, she was putting up videos of her burning her baby's hand, and she didn't get any jail time for doing that. It was like a complete slap on the wrist. Like I tell you before, one of the reasons I really don't like chicks just as a group to talk to, hang out with, associate with, is because I feel like people treat them almost like grown up children, no matter how old they are. And what this means is that when they do things that if a man did, he would be condemned and treated like the worst person that ever lived. A lot of them get caught up in this stuff about mental health and something could have happened to her, and poor little woman. And I'm just like, man, I just can't get behind feeling sympathy for the devil. Like, and remember, they never do this stuff for men, but they want you to feel bad for them. That's absolutely insane. I'm serious. When have you ever seen women posting on social media about some poor man that couldn't finish going to school because his parents or guardians wouldn't foot the bill, or some guy that's homeless, or some guy that can't find a job? Never. But if one of these things happens to a woman, oh, here they come. They start protesting and hooping and hollering, and they try to tell, yeah, no sympathy. Well, I tell you that like every screwed up statistic in America, more so, like I don't even like doing the gender war stuff because I think these things are bad, period. But anything that's bad, um, that has to do with an individual's personal condition, typically affects men more than women. Like, more, obviously more men are homeless than women because a lot of the homeless people are veterans, and more men serve in the military than women in general. Um, More men, end their own lives. I mean, we can go down the list, but it's like everything bad. If it happens to a woman, it's happened to men way more often. The only thing they might have is like specific gender related stuff, like postpartum depression or something. And even that's still, I mean, we already talked about how like we're seeing record low birth rates. And of course, if you listen to the stupid news, they talk about, oh, people aren't having kids anymore because of the economy. It's like, yeah, the fact that chicks sit on the internet all day wasting a bunch of men's time they don't even like has nothing to do with it. I'm sure of that. I already said a lot of chicks don't even date anybody anymore. They just sit there with their 5, 10, 20 guys swirling around them on some social media account. Like you see no progression with them at all. It's so funny watching people grab these containers like when they get these drinks. I don't even start talking about that stupid site. I already told you, with the way I am is that when you go online and you know that you can see women either scantily clad or wearing nothing for free, it doesn't make any sense to me why you would pay for some woman on some website. Like I'll never get that. Like I totally get wanting to see some chicks, but like paying for it is because like my thing is, at least if you, for example, pay a hooker, you get to touch her, feel on her, whatever. But like I'll never understand paying to see someone's pictures. Like I don't get that. at least back in the day, like, and Jem, you were there. You know, like the early 2000s, 90s, before everybody had a computer. At least when people had like a Playboy subscription, you kind of understood it because there's some guys that just aren't getting none from chicks, and you don't have the internet to like at that point, as readily available. But nowadays, I just don't get the appeal of like paying for pictures. I don't. Like I said, there's nothing on that woman that is so unique that it makes sense to pay her to see her body when you can see the same thing from like God knows how many other chicks. Okay, neither for me, but what I'm getting at is back when that magazine first started, and even up until about 20 years ago, I could understand where someone who's not getting anything from chicks and doesn't have internet because it wasn't as widely available, back in the day as it is now, would turn to that magazine or some other magazine or thing in real life that they pay for to see women that way. Like I'm not saying you have to have been into it, right? But I'm saying that made sense to me because the stuff wasn't as readily available. Like now, you can go online and there's whole websites of nothing but chicks. So that's all I'm getting at. I just think that that it's like really silly this is even happening. Oh man, I'm not even joking. When this stream is over, I might actually just go home and just like pass out. See, as when you have someone who's telling you like, "Oh, go do this, go that," I just try to like do the stream early and get out the way. I had one VHS tape in high school. I hope your parents didn't catch you. I hope they didn't notice what type of things you were into and you were up to and doing and messing around with. No, my favorite thing from Gem is when because you said you were born in '88, right? So you were like in school when it might you I think you said '88. It might have been some other year, but I know it's like during the '80s. So you were probably in school when Toy Story and Toy Story 2 came out. And I know you went up to one of your female classmates and you said, "When I look at you, I get a buzz in my Woody." And you got in a lot of trouble over that. Your principal said, "How dare you be attracted to your female contemporaries?" Dude, I'm telling you that like even before the Me Too stuff started, there were already signs of like the extremely PC era where it's like people tell you if you're attracted to some woman to go out and talk to her, but then growing up and then even like into like early adulthood, you have people who frown upon it, and like basically people verbally will try to communicate this idea to you that you're supposed to go out and like speak to women that you think are attractive, but then they also do little subtle things that make it to where you wouldn't want to, or like to would disservice or dissatisfy you from wanting to pursue them in any way. I didn't really start talking to women until college. Dude, for me it was like the reverse. I spoke to different like uh the different girls went to school with up from like between 7th grade to like 11th. And when I'm telling you, when I got to 12th grade, I just didn't even care anymore, man. I didn't speak to a single one at that point. This is stupid. I was like, okay, the ones I go to school with are they're like poison. There's nothing good that comes from it. They lie, they lead you on. Um, a lot of them like enjoy this whole thing of, ooh, he likes me, and I know that, and I won't get with him, so everybody can make fun of him. I hated that so much. Yeah, I was focused on schoolwork too. I had one chick that used to tutor me and math, because math was always my hardest subject, and I got hard when I was around her. I admit. I mean, I never got around to telling her while we were going over geometry that in a not so subtle way I'd like to see her shapes, but still, man, I'm telling you, I don't even like. It's just so funny to me how like year after year of putting up with stuff from them, I just said to hell with it. And I always tried to have a caveat where it was like, okay, the ones in real life, at least at these schools I go to, are bad. Let me try the ones online. And the ones online were bad. I was all right. This is going nowhere fast. That's why I said I just always felt like, especially after probably I'd say 2000, it could have been 15, 16, that it was just better to just leave them alone. Because like a lot of the long term stuff I want, again, whether it's getting married, having a family, they didn't want it. They would openly tell you, I don't ever want to do this. I never want to. And I would, and it would drive me nuts, because it's like every year you see these people that are like popping out kids, and they don't plan for it. They're not doing it with someone they're married to. So it's like you have to sit here, have what you want denied from you, but then somebody else gets it, and they don't even attempt to do it in a way that actually is beneficial to the child. And again, it would just drive me nuts. Like, that's why I don't even talk to any of them at this point, because like just seeing all the advancements that they make while you sit there stuck in this little like never ending spinning wheel of dealing with this stuff with these chicks. I call it the woman cycle. You meet some woman, you show interest in her, she says she's uninterested, and then you meet another one, the cycle happens again. Like, you sit here every year having this thing play out over and over again, and then the chicks, they get to date all these different guys and get screwed by them and marry them and like it's nuts. Like, this goes nowhere, especially if you're a guy. Well, I told you, they're just a rancid crowd. And again, they're not all promiscuous or taking booty pictures, but even the ones that don't engage in that stuff, they're not serious. They like getting attention from desperate men. Like, they enjoy it. Ooh, he's talking to me. He thinks I'm gonna go on a date with him. Silly him. Dude, I swear, if I did run for the house and they brought up the stuff I've said about chicks, I would completely double down and be like, hey, listen, um, I am not talking about all women. I've never made the claim to know all of them, but I have been disenfranchised with enough of them to just not be interested in them in a romantic sense whatsoever. Uh, but you get my point. I wouldn't feel bad in the slightest, because it's the truth, man. Like, I'd love to come on here and tell you about how great chicks are, but I can't get into that stuff. There's just too, again, it's just poison. I'm not about to sit here and act like that venom is anything people should be dousing themselves with. Dude, my favorite video anybody ever made about um I it was a few days after, it was either, I think, the day after or a few days after Obama gave his farewell address as president, and this guy was like talking about how all these killings around America in the inner cities, you didn't say anything about it. And all, and like, I guess he was talking about him and Bush and Clinton. He was like, all of you working with the demons. And I'm just picturing like the bankers from like from Citibank and JP Morgan, all these different places, like like they're in their little suits and ties, and they have the horns, and their faces are like red, and they have this like fang teeth with the little tail. That's like a really nice colloquialism to refer to like all of my political opponents. That it's not even like, oh, they're conservatives. It's like actual people that exist just to enrich themselves and cause destruction around the world. Like the US says, oh, we're democracy, we believe in freedom. It's like, yeah, but you have diplomatic ties with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is completely antithetical in almost every way to the supposed values of the United States. Again, like even if we don't talk about the mistreatment of women over there, look at what happened in Yemen. What's happening there, rather? That started under Obama. He was working with the demons, funding them while they were starving people and blowing up hospitals. I mean, that's when, like, I'm not even joking. When I look at pictures from Yemen, I really do feel like I'm watching like a simulation of what the world's ending looks like, where it's just all these people starving. And I'm not like, that stuff makes me want to vomit. When you see how frail and like disfigured these people, oh my god. Oh yeah, they're not Ukrainians, so nobody cares. We can't use them to forward an oil war with Russia, so we don't care about that country. I told you, one guy on Twitter told me Yemen's a country that funds terrorists. Like, so, because they supposedly fund terrorists, which the U.S. does as well. All the innocent children and people who have nothing to do with the government of that country should be starved to death for several years on end. But see, that's why I said Americans are douchebags. They say stupid stuff like that, and then they're surprised when you don't want to talk to them, when you're disgusted by them. Again, it's easy to sell on the internet and write stupid stuff on Twitter, but if you actually go live over there, we'll see how long you last. No, I know it's BS, but I'm just pointing out to you how insane it would be, like, to even okay, like, for example, um let me think of it. Just use the United States. We fund Israel, and they go out and they commit their government treats Palestinians like third class citizens. They've been called an apartheid state at various points. So imagine if I said the United States funds the terrorist country of Israel and its government, and because of this, Americans should be starved to death while having bombs dropped on their hospitals and grocery stores, and all their children should barely be fed and dealt irreparable damage because they're not getting I mean, that would be insane. But again, because we're the United States is like, the people that live here view ourselves as like the main character of the world with plot armor, we can never have empathy for people who are going through something like that. Do as I say, not as I do. I tell you, if I came on here and said something like that, everybody would say, what the hell is wrong with him? He's lost his mind. But when somebody says this about another country, they think it's normal. They think that's like not a weird thing. Cuba, after all these years, dude, even Cuba, you know what? I'm not even saying this to be funny. If you told me which countries would you rather live in, a dictatorship like Cuba, or North Korea, or a country that's facing the worst humanitarian crisis in the world like Yemen, I would pick Cuba or North Korea, because at least over there, as far as we know, people are not getting bombed when they go to the damn grocery store, are being starved year after year. Again, I'm not saying that those are preferable places that I'd want to live, but I'm just telling you that I would pick. Oh yeah, Iran is I mean, like I said, any of these other countries I'd rather live in. That Yemen is like the would be the worst one to go to. and that's entirely because of Saudi Arabia and its war over there. Man, these people in this coffee, it's crazy. 5 people all lined up together trying to get their mobile order pickup. But yeah, you get my point that I'm really disgusted by American behavior with a lot of different things. Like I told you, I was grossed out when that friend of mine couldn't name, like again, basic presidents, right? But that's why I said like a lot of when I talk about the mundane existence, it's not even like having ignorance when it comes to basic parts of history. Even like current events, because the thing in Yemen didn't just start yesterday. It's been going on for almost 8 years. Or rather, yeah, for 8 years, because it started in, I think it was March of 2015. So it's not like, hey, this just started. They didn't hear about it because it just began. It's like, no, it's been going for a while. Our news doesn't talk about it. And then this person wouldn't even research it themselves to know what's happening anyway. So even if the news acted like news and did their job by talking about this, it's still this person still wouldn't know anything about it. Dude, I still think it's funny, Gem, about like him about like that person not knowing who LBJ was. Like LBJ has multiple, even people don't like him, multiple books written about him, appeared in several movies, like about his life. I mean, hell, I'm holding one of them right here. This is Robert Dallek's book. I just got this yesterday. But I mean, that's why it's funny because it's like he really does have a lasting legacy. Like if you listen to conservative pundits and commentators and even some candidates, they bring him up again, usually in a disparaging way, but still. Um, but my point is, like, he does have a legacy. Like people do remember him. Maybe not. Yeah, dude, he passed over 200 laws in 6 years. Oh, the only negative is Vietnam, which I mean, I've always said he didn't start. Um, and again, you understand, I am sympathetic. Like, I'll admit it's his blind spot, but I mean, everybody that has one of those, like, how many people have been crapping on Carter for the Iran hostage crisis for over 40 years? Literally, no one in that crisis died, but they still bring it up and say he was bad, terrible, etc., etc. So even when no one actually passes, you can still get blamed forever. Well, of course, but they weren't trying to. They've never tried to be fair to him. They just have this like weird idea of what strength is, and the fact that the hostages were released on Reagan's inauguration day lets a lot of his right wing sycophants pretend that he was this extremely powerful character who just by existing was able to make Iran panic and be scared. And so it's such a like BS narrative, man. No, it's because Reagan showed peace through strength, and he scared the Iranians, and Carter was too weak. Yeah, that crap. Iran wanted to show goodwill. No, it's because Reagan was strong. He was tough. Dude, I'm telling you, if there's two presidents that I make, actually I take that back. If there's three presidents that I make documentaries about, because I gave up on those a long time ago because I got tired of doing all the research and editing and people don't watch. One of them's going to be Trump because I already am like have started writing other parts of that thing, and the other two, and it's not in any particular order, but Trump's going to be the easiest one because all of his stuff is like in the news. Like I'm not going to read any books for that one because I just don't feel like you know we know enough yet. Um, the other two are LBJ and Carter. And dude, the way it's supposed to go is that for LBJ, it's like it's going to be either 2 or 3 parts, and part one is going to be again for like early years, and then being in a congressman and then senator. I'm debating if I want to split that into two because he did a lot of stuff as senator that's not really talked about. That I have to do some research on. Um, and then when we get to the presidency part, man, that thing is going to be, I don't even know how many hours long. Ugh. But you understand when I'm talking about documentaries, these aren't like little tiny 20, 30-minute videos. These are full scale, um, researched uploads with like, sometimes with clips of what happened. Oftentimes I'll quote some author. And there's legitimate research here. I will read an entire book just to do that video. Iran does not back down. I'm surprised when Trump took out Soleimani that we did not end up in a war. I feel like he did that at just the, I'm not going to say the right time, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is if 2020 hadn't have been the pandemic's biggest year, like the beginning of that virus hadn't have started 2 months after that assassination, and Iran didn't get like swapped up in trying to take care of its own people, I think there's a very good chance we could have had a war. I remember this one guy said that Monica Lewinsky saved us from I think it was cuts to Social Security, where it was like Clinton was trying to balance the budget and be the first president since Andrew Jackson who got us out of debt, and that entailed like making more cuts to domestic programs that people need. And it's like right as he was about to do that is when the Lewinsky scandal broke out, and it just completely consumed his entire tenure of his whole second term basically. It is kind of funny that when I think about two-term presidents, especially like the ones from the 20th century, like the full 8 years, right? Clinton kind of is. It's kind of interesting. Like for someone with 8 years, he doesn't really have what I'd call a signature legislate. Like how with Obama, everybody mentions the Affordable Care Act, even if I don't think it's that great or that good. Again, it's like its only claim to fame is it's better than nothing. Clinton is the only two-term president I can think of where, like, I'd be hard pressed to name a single legislative accomplishment of his, like a single lasting thing that he did that's like still in effect, and it was this big deal and it was huge. And Jem, you were an adult when that happened. I was a little kid. I really don't remember that much. Um, so maybe you remember, but I don't. And even if I like when I research, I still can't find anything that like sticks out. There were 2 planes Iran took down, the drones, but not the one with the people. Yeah, they're as far as I can tell, they don't go around just massacring random people on planes. But I'm not joking. When I think about Clinton, I really am left wondering. Oh yeah, I know he played the saxophone. Because he used to. You remember that crossover episode of The Simpsons where they had Clinton and Lisa singing together with the saxophone, playing it at the same time. Uh, but like, I'm not even joking. I looked through both of his terms, and I can't name a single domestic achievement of his. Like for me, the things I remember the most that people never talk about are him repealing Glass-Steagall and the Telecommunications Act, which basically deregulated the broadcasting industry and is like responsible for why Fox and these other types of networks all play the same thing without any type of okay, yeah, don't ask, don't tell is something that happened that was important, even though I'd say it still got repealed like what, 2 presidents later, 10 years later. But I'm just saying, like, he doesn't like I'm talking about how it makes a lot of sense to me that when people think of him in pop culture or just whatever, the first thing they think about is like Lewinsky and the impeachment. It makes a lot of sense because he really doesn't have a major legislative accomplishment in the same way that Obama does, or again, if we're talking just two-term presidents like FDR had with Social Security, like he really has nothing. Like when he first got in office, what did he want to do? Healthcare reform, and his healthcare reform was so trash and so ineffectual that it led to the You remember the Republican Revolution of '94, where the Republicans won the House back for the first time in 42 years. Yeah, nothing on, like, no foreign policy achievements either, and it's really sad because he was president when what was it, Yitzhak Rabin, the Israeli prime minister that actually was worth a damn. Like he was in office when that man was murdered. I can't say I blame them. Dude, Hillary is pretty awful. Like, at least with someone like Harris, for example, I think she's been a fairly whatever vice president. Like, she really hasn't done anything remotely worth making me think she would be qualified to take over after Biden. Um, oh yeah, because she was on that I'm forgetting the committee, but it was like Operation Chip or something. But anyways, going back to Harris for a second, and when she was attorney general, she had truancy where she was putting or threatening to put parents in jail for their kids not going to school, which is also insane. Because that usually targets like lower income families where the parents really don't have like that much control over their kids, and it just causes like more issues for mostly poor people. But at least as senator, she supported single payer. She voted for, like just voted mainly in a way that I think like a semi progressive Democrat would. It was only when she ran for president she started talking out of both sides of her mouth and flipping from one way to the other again. I tell you the funniest thing about the current GOP grift is that now Republicans, when they lose elections, they say that it was stolen or it was rigged, and then they'll like they're so their supporters are like so gullible that these same people who will say the elections are rigged will run for the exact same office in the exact same next election, and then like if they lose, still be able to say it was rigged. You know what I'm saying, right? Like if you're someone who's just watching this objectively, and you say, okay, you know what? Let's just concede that this election may have been rigged. But you want to run again. So what difference is going? What is going to happen differently to where your supporters won't believe it's rigged if you win? Because that's really what it is. If they win, it's all fair, free politics. If they lose, it was rigged, and oh man, they took everything from me. I hope you notice that where every time they lose, it's rigged. Every time they win, it was fair. And I wish that some journalist, and that's a joke because we don't even have journalists in America anymore. We have a bunch of people that sit on TV and pretend to care about actually, following through on this stuff. But I wish some journalists would come up to one of them and say, listen, if these elections are rigged, stolen, taken, whatever, why are you running again for this same office? What is going to change between this time and last time to where we can realistically believe that it won't be stolen from you supposedly for a second time? They never can give any, like, no one ever asked them that. It drives me crazy because it feels like it's such a simple question to ask if you truly believe that this stuff has been, supposedly rigged. Hmm. But yeah, Clinton is really interesting because I've never seen someone with 8 years do so little. Like his main historical thing, unfortunately, is going to be impeachment. And I say unfortunately because I really do think repealing Glass Steagall matters more, but that's not as hot, so people won't mention it. I don't know what Akatsuki merchants here. He was banned a few. I think it was last week because he kept denying the reality of his romance with that woman that when he was homeless used to buy him some ice cream, and she caught on to the fact that he would only call her to go get ice cream. So I don't know how Akatsuki merchant got made a mod or how he evaded that previous banning that he had. But we'll make sure we get him this time. So Akatsuki merchant, just know your days are numbered. These are your final hours as a mod, and you need to make sure that you don't sully your last stand. Oh wow, Jem, you know what? I associate the crime bill more with Biden. You know, three strikes rule and whatnot, um, because he was the author of it. But it did pass under Clinton, and they had the super predators thing. So I guess it all goes together. There is a certain level of irony that Biden aspired to be one of the youngest presidents ever when he ran in '88, and then like just kept getting smacked down and smushed primary after primary, and then by some miracle finally, and like I'm not even joking. If I look through history, I can't name anyone that had to run for president three times to win. Like I think he might actually be the first one. And when I say I mean people who like seriously ran for it multiple times and just kept on not succeeding until they finally got it. He might have like broken the record for a person with the most failed runs that ended up by some like stroke of all the planets aligning, managing to. I still think that whole thing was just insane. Desperate to get it. Well, I told you, I can't think of any other time in history where the person who gets the Democratic nomination loses Iowa, Nevada, and New Hampshire. Like like Jem, who do you know who lost the first three primary states and still became the nominee anyway? I can't think of anyone else. So I said that was a really weird primary, and there are some people who just checked out after it. They don't even care anymore. I don't blame them. Like I still can't believe that happened. By the way, Secular Talk said that he's happy Cornell West is running, but but that if he lived in a swing state, he might be tempted to vote for Biden because whoever he runs against is going to be worse. And I was like, no, you're not getting me to do that lesser of two evils thing. I still have I've voted now in two presidential elections. Neither time in the general was it for the Democrat. So as long as they keep running these people that I think are like too moderate or don't, I don't believe in at all, you're not getting my vote. I don't care if I live in California or Wisconsin or Ohio or Pennsylvania. I'm not. It's not. You're not going to red scare me into supporting somebody that I don't like. Sorry. Especially since if your candidate is so damn good, they don't need my vote. They can go and get all these other people that are scared, pissless about the Republican winning. Every year these elections feel more fake. Wow, who else are we going to elect that's just a corporate puppet? Well, Kotsky Merchant, I thought you liked corporate puppets. You're one of the California state directors for the Biden Harris campaign, right? By the way, Jem, I know you're very upset with me because I donated to Elder. I gave him like $2, and the reason I did is because if you remember, they have like a requirements for the Republicans. They want to make the debate stage. They have to have like I think it's 40,000 don't like individual donors from 20 something states or more. Which I don't know why you have to be like why the state it comes from matters, but whatever. So I do feel kind of bad in the sense of like most of these people that aren't Trump or to a certain extent DeSantis are probably not going to have that many individual donors because a lot of people don't know who they are. And a lot of Republicans are just like in that pro Trump, camp. So that was me saying, hey, you know what? I don't support you winning the general or anything, but here's $1 so you can get on the stage. I hope you're not mad at me. I hope you don't unsubscribe. How dare you donate to a I hope you don't get too upset with me. I can already see Jem pressing that unsubscribe button so fast. You know what? I didn't even get to mention this. Um I did a video about Tucker Carlson getting a cease and desist letter from Fox, which I thought was nuts because it's like this guy isn't even working for your network anymore. So how can you try to like threaten him and say what he can or can't? But anyways, I did a video about that, and I talked about how because Tucker gets caught up in all that stupid stuff about race replacement theory and um, chain migrate, all this like weird stuff that about like just like problems with immigrants. Like I'll put it that way if we're being kind. And I said like he says salacious things. So this guy came in my comment section. He's like, what do you mean by him saying this? I wanted to subscribe, but I can't after. And I'm just thinking to myself, prick, do you really think I care if one person or none of these people subscribe? Because listen, like 4 or 5 years ago, I used to really be like irritated by just being stuck at 2000. Um, I even had like this one line about how if I made videos for another 30 years, I would still be like at less than 3,000. But the thing is, and I recognized a long time ago, subscribers after 1,000 mean very little. Most subs don't watch, regardless how big somebody's channel gets. And I'm more interested in views than subscribers because that means that my reach far extends the number of people who just clicked the button and vanished. So I'll put it this way. I really couldn't care less if someone ever subscribes again because subscribers are not going to like do anything for the most part that's actually beneficial to me. The only reward I could possibly get with more subs is a plaque or being able to email YouTube, and I'm nowhere close to reaching those thresholds any damn way. So if you have a problem with something I saying or thinking of unsubbing, you can go ahead and do it. I will not shed a tear. I will not cry. I will not become depressed. I will not be sad. I mean, it was just really funny that that guy acted like someone is really sitting here going, "Oh, he wouldn't subscribe me." Like, give me a break. I just thought that was hilarious. Like, because there was a time where I cared about subs, but I'm way more interested in views at this point. Just having people watch stuff. Like I would rather have a channel with 2,000 subscribers but a million plus views than a channel with a million subscribers and like 2,000 views. That's just how I am. I don't get paid for subs. I get paid for views. So he can take his fake I would have done this and shove it up his backside. I really don't care. Gonna threaten that you won't subscribe. Like somebody's really supposed to just sit here and be depressed over that. I just thought that was hilarious. Like you really expect me to just be sitting here sweating bullets because you might not sub to me. It's like even if that person subs, they're not gonna watch anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's always the most worthless nobodies who act like they're so important. And it's not even like it's a group of people together being like, "Hey, we're protesting." Like when that thing happened with Door and TYT, a lot of secular talk subscribers unsubbed. It was like he lost like 5,000 or 6,000 subs, whole bunch of people. But for me, I the way my subs are is most of them are like inactive, and a lot, and like that means that I can pretty much say whatever I like, have whatever opinion I want, and not have to worry about some kind of like intense backlash over it. And I don't say things, to purposely upset anybody, but it's just like my stuff wouldn't doesn't even work in such a way as for me to feel scared that if I say this type of thing, somebody might not want to subscribe because they don't, like, again, most of them don't even watch, so they would have no idea anyway. But yeah, I'm done caring about subs. That's over. I'm a views channel. I only care about what people watch. That's the only thing that matters. After you get monetized, you can take all your subs and just throw them in the trash. Because that's what they do to you when they don't watch your stuff, when they completely ignore when you're streaming, just get rid of them. Like I say all the time, I appreciate those that watch. But all people clicking the button and then vanishing, I don't care about you. You don't support me. You show a lot of them do this thing where they'll sub to somebody and then like months or years later they'll come and write some weird stuff and then get blocked. Like that's their whole arc. What was I gonna say? I'm really not even trying to sound like some ungrateful bastard. But I really like at the one and one of the few ways I'll admit I've changed since I started doing stuff on this site is I couldn't care one iota about people subscribing at like, again, once you get past 1,000, and really specifically once you get past 1,000 something, because most people, when they have a small channel, they have what I call them deadlock subs, where you could be inactive, and I've seen this for months, and like you might lose maybe 3 subscribers out of 200. Like most people when they sub will just stay sub to you permanently. Um, so once you get past 1,000 something, this whole thing of like having to acquiesce and hope that somebody subscribe, that goes out the window. I didn't get to say hello to Megumi. This same case on Twitch with followers not engaging in the stream, and that's really bad because on Twitch, again, you get paid for people to watch the stream, right? I've never been a creator on there, but I just assume it works the same way. So they're not doing the person any service. Ooh, they have all these followers, yeah, but they don't tune in. That's what subs do. They click a button and vanish. Me and Jem were talking about this. Must have been last weekend where I was telling about how when I do a stream and only 7 or 8 people show up, or even less than that, I don't feel bad because I've seen way bigger channels that when they do streams, they're bare like, okay, if I have some streams with several hundred or 1,000 views, right? That like people watching the replay, like not live, but just later on. I'm totally fine with that because when I get 1,000 something, that's like half of my subs that watched it. So that means that, again, 50+% tuned in to watch this thing. Some of these channels will have, in some cases, 5-digit subs, 6-digit subs, and their streams perform like this. Like their numbers aren't bad in the sense of like if I were getting their numbers, like, yeah, but because of how big they are, it's kind of it's not really anything to write home about. I'll give you an example. There is a channel with 186,000 subs. If you don't believe me, I will screenshot them and we'll do a whole video about this. They put up a video. To their credit, they get 30, 40, 50, 60,000 views, right? There is a solid third of their audience that watches them almost no matter what. But when they do a stream, they get maybe 2,000, 3,000. I've never seen them do a stream in recent times that's cracked 5,000. And again, these aren't bad numbers per se. Like, I would love to have these numbers, but again, their channel is several dozen times bigger than mine. They should be getting, if I get 1,000 on a stream and that's like half of, for me, that they should be getting like 90 something thousand per stream. But they come nowhere close to that because there are people who perform way worse because of how huge their sub count is. Mhm. There's another guy with 28,000 subs. He used to stream just as often as I do. He would stream probably like at least 4 times a month, at a minimum once a week, right? Out of here, and remember, 28,000 subs, right? Out of all the streams he has ever uploaded onto this site, I can count the number of them that have been watched by more people than are subscribed to him on one hand. He had one stream with 50,000 views, another one that had like, I think it was 30,000. And after, besides that, it's like 23,000. Then it drops to like 15,000. Then it drops to like 10. And I'm not saying this to make fun of anybody, but again, what is the point of having more subs if you're already monetized if they're not going to watch you? It is scary and very horrible. And Megumi, you probably have never noticed this, but YouTube does not promote streams the same way it does videos. So for example, if you've never heard of me, never seen me before, there is an infinitely higher chance that the first thing you'll see that's recommended from my channel to you is a video and not a stream. And this actually, that's why I said a lot of times people who get, loads of views on videos don't really do that well when they stream because YouTube doesn't promote their streams either when they're live or after they've already been posted. Yeah, you get paid for subs. I mean for views rather, excuse me. That's why I said, like, I'm not embarrassed by my view count. I have almost I think it's like a little bit over 700,000 total views. I'm not embarrassed. That's only, what is that? That's like 7/10 of a million. So I'm not shocked at all. My whole focus is people just watching stuff and sticking more and more views on it. That's all I care about at this point. If no one subscribed to me ever again, I wouldn't shed one tear. Dude, I'll never forget when I had this one person I was friends with, and they had a channel where somebody told them that because they were making like how like people do like the anime discussion type videos, and they said something disparaging about the guy who made this series they like, and somebody said, if it weren't for this person, you would still only be getting 20 to 200 views. And like the person they're saying this to has a channel with less than 300 subs. And I'm just thinking to myself, isn't it crazy that like you can try to embarrass someone whose channel is small, they only have 200 subs. You can attempt to embarrass them for getting around 200 people to watch a video. You don't think that's like nuts? Like, how many views is a person with 200 subs supposed to be getting? That's why I said, man, people just have the most backwards, thoughtless retorts. Why does YouTube do that? It prioritizes the videos over streams. You think I'm kidding? One of these days, I want you to just look in your recommended, and or you can even do this. You could make either. Well, I'm not gonna tell you to make another account, but like you could just look in your recommended and see if you ever get stuff recommended that's from me. Really look and see if any of it is ever a stream. I guarantee you, you won't. If you, I have never once seen a stream sent to me in my recommended. I've seen videos that are sometimes 7 years old, 8 years old, 5 years old. Never once has it been a stream. And that really is sad because like I get where people might think streams do something for my channel, but in all seriousness, if someone sees an older thing I've posted, again, going by the algorithm, they are infinitely more likely to see an older video than like an older stream or even a stream that just came out like a week or two ago. And I find that really sad. It is insane. But that's why I keep telling you that, like, the whole point of subs is that people like your channel, they click this button so that, they can be notified when you make a new video. But in all seriousness, most subscribers do not watch most of the channels that they're subscribed to. And this means that a lot of these bigger channels will have these really inflated numbers that look impressive on paper. But if you actually go through each individual video that they've done, it's nothing. Like it's almost a joke that people would even think, oh yeah, this channel is something. It's really a thing we should be impressed by. Ooh, look, they have 100,000 subs. And then you look at their view average, it's like 5,000, 3,000. I know one guy, he does movie reviews. I kid you not. He has somewhere over 100,000 subs. And like when he puts up a video, his average is anywhere between a 4-digit number and a 5-digit number. And not even like a high 5-digit number. Like, let's say you have 100,000, you get 50,000, like half people watch. It's usually somewhere between 10 to 20,000. Like, his actual group of support is probably like 10% of his subs if he's lucky, or 20%. Right, you're not doing anything wrong by observing this stuff because everybody. I'm not saying this like I say everybody. I'm just saying in general. A lot of people want to be content creators, and they associate giant sub counts with like being successful. But I kid you not, if your subscribers are not watching your stuff, then you're not really like as successful as you think you are. Just seeing their crazy amount of sub/followers and hardly anyone watching or tuning into their stuff. And I've seen a couple of channels where it's the reverse. I've seen some people who have channels where they literally only upload a few times a year, and they have like a small number of subs but a bunch of views. I've seen people with 200 or 300 subs have videos with 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 views. And again, it's like stuff like that is impressive, and I think is a more effective way of run. Like for me, I don't really, I'm never going to let that determine if that we're, well, you know what it is, Megumi. Some people upload so rarely and do have like a thing of like trying to do it differently, as far as like they really don't want to get caught up in that same web of having videos that have a little bit of views with a bunch of sub. They're trying to like be the reverse of that, because it is true that the more views you get, the more recommended your stuff appears, and it kind of like causes itself to happen where more people will subscribe to you the more views you have. But they don't want to become like those other channels where they have big sub counts and few view counts, which is why they upload so rarely. They're like, all right, I'm gonna let this sit here, see how people respond to it, and then we'll go from there. And even the channels that are able to get a lot of people to watch something, it's usually one specific type of content. Like just to give you an example, I think it's Team 4 Star who has like, it's like 5 million, 4 million subs. And when they put up an episode, when they used to put up episodes of Abridged, and I think with their shorts too, they'll get 10 million views, 5 million views, whole bunch of views, right? Really impressive. Even though they're not actually making anything from it because they get demonetized thanks to using someone else's IP and whatever. So, anyways, they get a bunch of views when they made that, but when they do their little podcast videos, just them sitting there talking, they'll be lucky if they crack 300,000, which again is not bad. Like for me, that would be terrific, right? Just amazing. Like I would never, I've only ever come close to that number one time. But if you remember that they have millions of subs, then it's not so impressive. It's like, okay, really, that's all that you could get to tune into your thing of you speaking to each other. That's the full extent of it. Oh man, I hate that. Subs who only sub to the channel for one specific content they do and not tune into anything else. And it's not even like there used to be this one myth that romance stuff does better than political stuff. And the only time where that was arguable on my channel was when I had, like the why I don't approach or whatever, because that did very, 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 very well. But in general, they don't really do that much better. Like some romance stuff in like sometimes has longevity in the sense that people will go back and watch it years later. But still, there's a lot of stuff that just kind of like it mostly peaks at like a few hundred, which is around the same number that some political stuff will peak at as well. Um, but what's really sad is like at least with me, I can say, okay, if I put up a video of this topic, I'll get maybe 100 more. It's nothing like too much bigger in general, right? With some of these people, they'll put up an episode of their show, get a million plus views, but then when they put up them speaking, it's like 200,000, 300,000. It has stalled infinitely. And that's really sad because again, it's like it shows you how sometimey the subs are. And it's even worse when you remember that when they do a video where they're talking, because remember what I said earlier, they don't get paid for a bridge. They use copyright music, they use screenshots and footage from Toei. They're not getting paid for that at all. So it's like when they do a video where it's just them talking and they actually can get paid for it and you don't support it, it's like, well, hell, you must really want these people to sleep under a bridge. Like if I did a Dragon Ball thing, because remember we were talking about that for a little bit. I would draw out everything. I may at the most I might do is use some music from one of the video games, but a lot of that stuff is fair use because people put up videos with video game music all the time and they don't get them monetized. So my point is, at least if I did it, I would, and I'm not going to get anywhere near the views they get, but like I would still get something off of it. They get nothing for doing that, other than having their channel taken down over and over. So it's like you make a video where you actually can get paid for it, and the people that love your stuff so much can't be bothered to watch half of them. Damn near, they tune out like crazy. Like people don't care, man. It's whatever to them. I'll tell you, my whole perspective on this site changed a long time ago. Like I used to really beat myself up. I've had 2,000 subs for 5 years. It's like, well, it really doesn't bother me anymore. I'd love to see the day where I have over a million views, and there's all these videos with thousands and thousands of views. I'll be content with that because again, there are channels that are bigger than mine that are really not doing that much better. Do you think it comes down to being very selective? Um, I think a lot of people when they get caught up on that one specific type of content, they're not really like open to seeing anything else. Like that person kind of like becomes it's almost like how in Hollywood they have typecasting where actors get picked for the same type of roles over and over. It's like you've been typecast into this one specific thing, and if you ever deviate from it, they just couldn't be bothered. They're not the only ones I've seen that happen with, by the way. Like I've seen other channels start podcasts and branch out to do other things, and they can't they like I'll never not be astonished by how some channels can have millions of subs and certain videos that when they put them up, millions of people tune in. But if they do a video where it's them on like just talking or doing something else, people will not even they won't even give it a chance, man. This same thing happens on Twitch literally. Well, my thing with Twitch is that it's harder for me to tell how bad people are doing on there because Twitch doesn't, if I remember correctly, keep up videos as long or it's not really known for being like a video sharing site or hosting site where you can kind of like gauge someone's long-term successes and advantages on there. This is one of the main aspects I dislike. Oh, you're not the only one. Roll the window down. It's getting hot out here. Bring this all the way down. I'm not even gonna roll all the way down. I'll just put it probably like right here. Ugh. I've seen some real horror stories with these channels. And like I said, I know very few people who can just get all their subs to watch like no matter like even a lot of the big channels like PewDiePie, for example, that's a guy that's got what 90 million subs or 100 million, whatever the amount was. And it's like even someone as big as that, they can barely get a tenth of those people to like, oh yeah, every video he does gets over 1 million views, but it still is nowhere near the amount of people that are subscribed to him. I hate it so much being only known for popping out one kind of content, and if you deviate just a little bit and try something different, complete ghost town. Yeah, and what's also bad as well is that what was I gonna say? I'm trying to think what it was. There's someone who did that. Oh yeah, it makes you as a like creator very pigeonholed because it's like I've seen people who want to abandon doing something or get like they get tired of it, but since they've made YouTube their main source of income, they have to keep dancing for the change. So there's really like no benefits to people acting this way. There really are not. Like I just think if you really like somebody and you want them to succeed, you should at least be open to something different every now and again. That's just my opinion. I'm telling you, I know one guy. They've been making like reviews since I was in preschool. Like that's how long they've been doing it, and they have effectively admitted that they've wanted to retire doing that type of video for over 10 years now, like since not over 10 years, but like since 2014 or 15. But because they don't really have another source of income outside of this that's like really paying the bills and doing, you know what I mean? Like maybe they get some job in real life doesn't pay as much. They're stuck with it. They're gonna have to keep playing this type of video up until they're in their 50s, 60s, or I mean it that I think that's really sad. Like I'm just like a lot of the romance stuff I make. I make it because it's like part of my belief system and just kind of me expressing myself. But I'm not even joking. Some of these people, like I couldn't imagine getting, let's say, thousands of views on that stuff, right? And then, oh, I have to make this for the rest of my life because I can't get my subs to watch anything else or a job in real life that pays as much. That like that would it's just like that thing of just being stuck in that rut forever. And like on one hand, you might say, oh, but he's making money online, and it's like, yeah, but if you're doing something that you don't have a passion for anymore, then it's kind of like, well, it's like a trade-off, because people in real life have jobs that pay the bills and they despise them, like they hate going to work. So if your internet job is just as aggravating as one you could get in real life, then in what way are you truly benefited? Because they're like, people have this fantasy image that if somebody has a million subscribers or has like a big channel, they're making just trillions of dollars. But in all seriousness, there are people who get paid in real life just as good, if not better, than some of these content creators. And the difference between the two of them usually is that the person in real life has stuff they can fall back on. Content creator has that channel. If something happens to that channel, or you know they get sick of making this type of stuff, they're doomed. Yeah, that's the point, and majority of people just don't understand or want to hear, because they have like these very narrow-minded perspectives. Oh, you're making money on your channel, mission accomplished, you should be happy. It's like, but this person is not. They're not happy because they feel as if they can't make anything else and have been typecast as this one specific type of person or content creator. So they're not able to expand their horizons or just do anything different. That's why I said, man, people don't even think when they just conceptualize this stuff. They're like, you make money, should be happy. It's funny how everybody gets how you can have a job you hate, but you'll still do it because you get paid. And like, if it's real life, they completely understand that perspective, right? Hey, you work a job you don't like, so you can get paid. But then, like in on the internet, you do a job you don't have the passion for anymore, but you get paid, and it should be like happily ever after ending and fantasy or whatever. I really wouldn't want to be in that position. It sounds so horrible and very hard to get out of. Yeah, and the sad part is a lot of it isn't even due to like the content being bad, like the alternative stuff that you do just not being good. Again, most of these people, they don't even try to give it a chance. They if you upload that video, they won't even look at it. It's not like somebody goes and says, "Hey, you know what? I don't like this much as your other thing because of this or the other reason, but I think if you improve in this way and that way, you'll get more people." It's not even something constructive where there's like a clear bias towards the other thing, but they're still trying to get you to at least, you know, do what you want. They're saying with their views, we will not support you in any other endeavor. Did I remember this one guy was on this stream with this like podcast host. He had a channel before YouTube got rid of it, and he was like, I didn't thumb up your video. I know that upsets you. I don't hit the like button. He's like, I don't get paid for the likes. I get paid for the view. I was just laughing, like he really thought it like this guy would be upset because some random person didn't click the like button. And he usually gets like 1,000+ likes every video. So why would he even notice or care if one person doesn't do it? It's like that same thing of like they have so little to actually try to infuriate you with that they try to like overinflate their importance. No, when that guy said I was thinking of subbing, but I was like, does he really think I care? Like I'm getting more views on average, like in general, than I ever have in the past, and I'm supposed to just sit here and be like, oh man, that one person they wouldn't sub. I don't think I can make it. I thought that was hilarious. Like you have to be kidding me. But no, people really believe that they're like they hold the key to you being able to do anything on this site. Like I really was shocked that he wrote that and it was like a serious thing. Like I at first I thought maybe this is some kind of joke. Like I was thinking of subbing, but it like he really wanted me to feel bad because I spoke down on his favorite former TV host. And like because he would not subscribe. Dude, give me a break. You know, with me, if I don't want to sub to somebody, I just wouldn't sub to them. I don't have to announce that I'm not going to. Like I'm an anime villain. I have to declare all my evil plans. There's plenty of channels I'm not subscribing to, nor would I ever sub to. But guess what? You're not going to see me in their comment section saying, "I was thinking of subbing, but after seeing the way that you act, I don't think I will." Come on, give me a break. But yeah, YouTube does not promote streams, and it's actually really sad because I like the whole interactive thing a lot. I don't get why people have to announce that kind of thing because they want to feel more important than they actually are. They want to like convince themselves that it's kind of like how um if you make a video talking about something someone likes or doesn't like in a positive or negative way, they have to tell you why they don't like it or why they like it. It's like if I enjoy something or don't like something, I can kind of like be content with just keeping it to myself. And maybe if I want to do a video or post it online, I'll do that too. But like, I don't have to go to every single time someone has a differing opinion and let them know why I believe what you know what I mean? Like, it's that same thing of they need you to see it. It's not enough for them to just not do it. They need you to know that they're not going to subscribe slash have the same opinion slash do this other type of thing. It's all part of that same like attention thing of like they need people to know who they are. Oh yeah, they absolutely want to engage them. Megumi, one of the best examples, I'll never forget this. There was a video a guy I watched did, and he was talking about how this like this like actor went to some event with another actor from the same damn series. They worked on on like different seasons, right? One came in as one left. And, a lot of people when they leave a show, they still watch it. They still are familiar with cast members that came after they did. The person treated them like they were a nobody, didn't know who they were, just completely ignored them, barely said anything to them, just really rude, right? So in the comment section, there's this guy who's calling the actress a D-list actor and or a Z-list actor, and I'm like, this is really nasty. And he's going in back and forths with pretty much the whole damn comment, like left must be 20, 30 different comments on the video. And he responded to me, and I didn't say anything. I just screenshot his thing and laughed about it. But they do want to have those back and forths because they have no friends and no one to talk to in real life. And they're trolls in a lot of cases, and that's part of it. They want to like just get someone's attention. Dude, imagine like Megumi, imagine if you were on like a TV show. Like let's say I'm on a TV show for the first 3 seasons, right? And then you come on it for the 4th season, and you're there for like up until the 6th one. Like you do about as much as I do, right? And then you're like, hey, I played your cousin on that show you were on. And I'm like, I don't watch those seasons. And I walk away from you, and then you're online and you're like, wow, they were Justin was a hero of mine, and he just kind of like ignored me when I tried to talk to him and say I appreciated his work, and I tried to follow his example, and I'm kind of jaded by that. And then people online are like, well, he doesn't watch that show, and of course, why would he know who you are even though you were in the same damn series? I mean, come on, you're a Z-list actor. Like, how rude, man. So I said people are just nasty. That's why when that guy's somebody did a video where they screenshot that guy's message and laughed at him like I did with that Jove person. I was over there clapping. I said good job, because I'm tired of these people being able to just talk trash and say nasty stuff about every damn body, and we're supposed to sit here and keep it to the comment section. No, you do a video, you get some money off of them being an idiot, you screen cap their stuff and tell people how stupid they are. Congratulations. Like seriously, I'm happy anytime you can take something someone's like a stupid thing somebody wrote in the comment section and get paid for it. I'm happy for you. At least something good came out of them being an idiot. It felt so cathartic to see that person just tear down all their points piece by piece. And the only thing that guy could do, because he was banned, right, on that channel, the only thing he could do was make another account and leave some weird comments about how like the seasons that the person was in have no one that likes them. Some kind of like that didn't address anything the person said, right? And got banned right again. Nobody has time for all these fake accounts and back and forths, all other crap. People are trying to do something with their lives. It felt so nice to just see that pest swatted, like just taken away. Just get out of here, you know? I'm not even like the kind of person that just likes to just get rid of somebody, but it like when you have someone who's just spewing this toxic crap and they act like they're like the people they like and whatever show or movie they like is so much better than anything you like. You know, that's why I said I didn't feel bad about what happened to them. I was happy. You want to be a prick online, you should get treated that way. I'm serious when I tell you I never go to comments and dude, it's like it's not even just like, hey, I'm gonna write a sentence asking you what do you mean by this, or like something good faith, right? Like, why do you like this season more than the ones this other person was in? Or hey, why do you think this person who left this show before this other person came in should know who they are? It's if it's something like that, that's one thing. But this guy, like they'll write whole paragraphs trying to argue with you and dismissing all of your points and asserting their opinion as fact. It is obnoxious. And like I said, I don't have time to do the like back and forth stuff. No, like people who have lives don't do that. Again, I'll set aside four to 6 hours a week to do some streams and record some videos, but that whole like let's argue forever thing, no, I'm good. And I'm not joking. If you go in that video, I'm not going to send you the link to that video because I don't want to promote them being an idiot. But if you go in that video, there's a lot of people that took the bait. They responded back and forth to that guy 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And the thing is that on that channel, the person who runs it doesn't delete comments. When he came over to the other person's channel, he got a rude awakening. Like he was banned before he even left one comment. Because you know the way that these attention seekers are is that they want to like when you make a video with them in it, even if it's on like a channel that they follow, they're gonna like find a way to know that they were in it or to like what I mean, like they look for someone that they were talking trash to talk about them. So they fully expected he was going to try to come on there and write more stupid stuff, and they just weren't having it. That's why I said, like, with a lot of those chicks that talk about being harassed on the internet, my sympathy is much smaller than ones in real life because online you don't have to talk to anybody. Like with Gumi, you could decide I'm annoying and be like, hey, I'm unsubbing. I am never tuning into this channel again. Same thing with that guy. He said, look, I wrote one comment. That person responded with something like really obnoxious. So they're banned. I'm never speaking to them again. And sure enough, they didn't. Gumi says, yeah, exactly. You have the choice to not speak to anyone if you don't want to. It felt so good, man. Just for as many comments as that guy was writing, for like the one person that didn't write back to him to just screenshot his thing, make a video about how stupid he was, and then keep it moving. It was nice. You do have a choice. Um, like again, there's no one you talk to online that you're forced to speak to. And that's why a lot of the like internet stuff just annoys me because people act like when you talk to them or they talk to you, like you're making them do it. Like, oh man, he left a comment on my video, so I had to say something back. No, you didn't. You wanted to. You said that this person means something to me, so I'm going to try and argue back and forth with them. And remember, the sad part about online is that the people who will call you the most like bad things want to like talk to you out like more than anybody else. Too bad an overwhelming amount of chicks online don't think that they don't. Dude, I'm telling you, like being a woman online must be the most entertaining thing in the world. Like when if I'm telling like if some of the stuff I've seen with females on the internet, like not even just like, oh, this woman had some guy, but just just like stuff with them in particular, it's so weird, and it's like it could only happen with them. Like there was a woman, she had a picture on her channel, not her channel, on her Twitter, because she had a channel as well. She doesn't have any videos. And you know, like those old, like, you know, you can tell a picture is old because how grainy it is, like it's low quality, it's not really, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's like, you could tell a picture was taken a long time ago just by like the way it looks. She has this old picture as her avatar. And again, I don't care because I follow this person because they share a lot of my same beliefs. One day she puts up a post and she says, "Can all of these weird guys get out of my DMs? I have surgery face. That's why I don't use a whatever picture. Can you guys take your weird self somewhere else?" And she said something that was like more. It wasn't. It was like less decent. But I was just laughing because I'm like, they really thought that old picture was new. And like again, she doesn't even post any images, just talks about the news and all these guys. Like, damn. That is a case where I did feel sympathetic because I'm like, she really is just talking about the news, and these weird guys pop up and appear and come out of the woodwork to try and flirt with her. I never would have guessed they would stoop that low, but honestly, with men at this point, we've reached the bottom of the barrel. Like, I'm not even shocked. I'm not shocked in the sense of like the more and more stuff I find out about what men are willing to do and who they're willing to go after, it's not even surprising. To give you another example, there's a what's who else had something like that happen? Oh yeah, another thing that I've seen is that women who are not a word that starts with P and ends with a word that starts with P and rhymes with Britty will often like, I think you've seen this. They'll steal another woman's picture and use that as their avatar, and it's like some guys. I'm not even joking. They'll actually believe the famous woman in the picture is the woman they're talking to. I know one person, they made like a parody account for some actor on Facebook, and some guy started DMing them talking about, "Hey, did you see my picture? How are you? What's up?" And it's like that's an actress's images that this person clearly took. They're not pretending to be that person. They're like, "Hey, I'm not them." But like again, obviously, anyone who like has half a brain can tell that's not the actual actor. But these guys are like so horny and stupid. But no, because like catfishing is when you take someone's picture and you act like it's you. They're not saying that's them. This one person runs an account where it's like it's a fan page. They're like, I love this actor. That's why I use them as my picture. Like they're not saying that that's them. Like there was this one girl, she was killed by this guy that she was friends with. Her uncle used you I don't know if he still does, but he like used her picture as his avatar on, I think it was Facebook. And it's like he's not pretending to be her. He's not like, he has a male name with this girl, with this, you know, girl that unfortunately passed away's image. So it's not catfishing, like he's not pretending that's him, but he's using her picture because he, you know, misses her or whatever. I'm just saying that like in that instance, they weren't like outright saying I'm not this person, but it's like very obvious that they're not that person. So it was just funny that like they fell for, like, someone fell for that too. And remember, the person isn't even trying to like pretend to be the actor. They just have their image as their picture, or someone who's a fan of the character in their profile picture, etc. Yeah. But you get my point that like that's why I said people are really stupid because they fall for stuff that like isn't even it's not even done for nefarious intent. Like they just fall for stuff that's like very obviously not real. Extremely gullible. So when some guys get horny, and that's why a lot of these chicks are able to make such a living off of these men, they will do anything and they will fall for anything. I told you about that one woman on that dating website that admitted that she was a hooker and was trying to get me to tune into some broadcast. Was talking about I could fly to come and see, and I said I didn't like directly respond, but I'm just like I'm not going to buy into the idea that a woman who has probably seen more male genitalia than a public bathroom in an inner city is like specifically interested in me. I think she's told that line to every guy that has crossed paths with her at some point on one of these sites. So I didn't go to it. But some man that's really horny and like, thinks the walls are closing in, he might be tempted to do it. If they see something they like and skim read certain stuff like F20, US, etc., profile picture of a chick in a skimpy outfit and stuff. I'm telling you, man, people buy into it. They'll flock to it. No, they'll people, but the stuff they fall for is so sad. They remind me of those random accounts that used to message me on like Skype talking about, oh, female 39 here interested in dating or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I believe that. It's like you really want me to believe with all the damn dating websites, this woman like her last resort was friend requesting random guys on on Skype. That's like her final. That's her last bid to find a man. I'm really supposed to believe that. But again, somebody else might fall for that. Oh, there's this woman in front of me. She has some dark brown hair with like light coloring. It's where you have hair that's like dark and then you dye it to where there's like parts on top of it that are like a brighter version of the same color. No, she's one of those chicks that if I were still into my like whole I can do it if I just go up and try, I might say something, but I'm good. I got some nice shades on. She has that like slender frame that I really like. Decent height, about 5'7", 5'8". Yeah. No, I like highlights because they make stuff stand out. It's not just one full color. It's strange because I don't really see this kind of thing in real life, though, dude. I'm telling you, you'll be hard pressed to find um, any instance where, I mean, I'm not even joking. Like when I go into just real life and look around and kind of observe stuff, I don't even see men like talking to women, like unless it's some guy that's already with a broad, and a lot of times like an older couple or something. I don't even see like just men making moves towards chicks like at all. Like I don't know any guy personally that's like under 40 or like 30 that's like, except for that the person to think about with the baby dates that like has a girlfriend. I'm not even joking. It's a really rare amount. And again, it drives me crazy because I don't think this is normal. I don't think it's normal for a guy to have to talk to 50, 100, 200 chicks just to get a date. I don't think it's normal that you're expected to do all this crazy stuff just to get, like, I just don't see where how any of this is good, or how anyone can say this is not, this is like something that is like proof of advancing. It just seems like trash, and like people, they hope that by ignoring it it's going to go away. Exactly, that's what I mean. I really don't see it. Yeah, I've never, The last time I saw a man go up and ask a woman on a date probably was in high school. Like after that, and again, there were periods where I would go to the mall every day, and I just don't see men asking out women. Like I don't see them trying to talk to them. Again, if one of them's hanging out with another one, it's usually someone who's already with the other person. I just don't see where all these great relationships are supposedly forming because they aren't. Like I said, man, romance, in the modern era, it's toxic, and I think it's a waste of time, and it's like a pyramid scheme. I mean, I already told you, modern women are like poison. Like if you listen to the stuff these guys are telling you to do just to get with one of them, none of it is in any way going to benefit you. And all the stuff that's supposedly for your benefit is really just for the woman's benefit because she's going to get everything she can out of you. It's like, oh yeah, go to the gym and exercise. Even though, like Megumi, I want to ask you, do you understand the irony? Like we talked about my unpopular color, but it's a fact. If you don't believe me, you can look this up. 4 in 5 African American women are overweight. Do you understand the irony of like being told to exercise and go to the gym to approach a group where 80% of its members are overweight? You get where like that's really ironic? Because I said before, on the internet, I don't know what anyone's race is, but in real life, anywhere from 90 something percent to 99% of the women I've asked out have been black. So you get where it's like really funny that they do the whole exercise gym thing, and then the women that they're telling you that like you're supposed to be doing this for are like nowhere close to doing that themselves. Like it's all part of that same lack of balance. I'm telling you, man, people really believe this stupid stuff. It's so sad. Oh, it is disparity. Like, ask yourself what normal person even sits there and is like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to become a millionaire so that some woman who doesn't have a pot to piss in can beg me for money every day or take all my stuff. I tell you, it's so sad to think about it. There have been relationships where you'll have some guy marry some woman and they both work, or even like hell, even like back in the 40s or 50s or any of these other like housewife eras, the woman still supported the man by, like cleaning the house, making food, whatever. Like even just basic stuff like that. And again, it's like you had previous eras where women did not seek this perfect, extravagant, beyond the scope of normalcy man. And now it's all just a bunch of Johnny come latelys. What I always think to myself when I hear that being suggested is, how is an overweight to obese woman attractive? Well, see, remember what I told you about how I don't know if it was, which video was it? It might have been the I've been criticized for everything video, but I was talking about how when these guys start preaching all this stuff about doing this for this woman and doing that for a woman, etc., right? They don't actually have proof of what the women look like because they've never seen any of the ones you're going to ask out. So they create this image in their head that all the women are these beautiful supermodel, slender, uh, giant chest creatures of divine attractiveness, when in reality a lot of them leave a lot to be desired physically, but they never will mention this because they don't know what the women look like. They know what you look like, and they're putting you up against their unrealistic fantasy so that they can like feel better about telling you you're not good enough, you need to step up, you need to transform and do all this other crap. Women that they aren't privy to the existence of at all. Exactly. Dude, I remember the last high school I went to, they had like 8 or 9 black kids in the class, and there were about four. It was either 4 or 5 women. Like it was like slightly more females than males, and I'll never forget that out of all the females, only one of them wasn't overweight. I'm serious. I remember each one really good because there weren't that many of them. And out of those 5 females, only one of them was not overweight. I'm not joking. Um, I might be able to. I don't want to like put anyone's picture because that's not my thing. But like, I'm very serious when I tell you there were 5 black girls in my class, and 4 of them were overweight. And ironically enough, the one that wasn't overweight is the only one I didn't have classes with. Actually, no, I take that back. There were 6. There were 2 of them that weren't. I'm forgetting about one of them. Um, but yeah, there were 6, and 4 of them were overweight. And my thing is, um, and again, like this isn't just a thing about like them as an ethnic group because they're overweight chicks that are other races as well. It's just that I thought it was so ironic that like around the same time that people start pushing that whole go to the gym thing, I was sitting there and I was like, guys, the women I see in real life, first of all, I wouldn't even ask out because I don't find them attractive anyway. But secondly, like they don't even fit the stereotype of what you're getting at. I'm not joking. I that was a real thing where all of them except 2 were overweight, and one of them had a boyfriend. The other one I don't know. But yeah, like I'm and when I say one, I'm talking about the 2 that weren't. Like I said, 12th grade was the only school year after I even like became like went through puberty slash became attracted to chicks where I didn't ask out any female in my class. That was the only one after that. Like from 7th grade up until then, I was always asking out some girl that went to the same school me or that I whatever. Not that year. I was too disenfranchised. Like this is stupid. You want to meet somebody, go online, and even theirs rancid too. I'm not even joking. I really just I stay away from them. I know, right? It's like they are trying to get guys to be okay with obesity and to like chicks who are overweight. Well, remember I talked about this before. There are some men that are okay with that, which that's their prerogative. But what drives me nuts is that people will sit here and know so cruelly because they don't know. Remember, nobody cares about men. You need to go to the gym. You need to get lose weight, and you need. It's like, dude, look at the people you're asking me. Because remember, all this stuff they're saying about weight is just so you can try and get with a woman. It's not for any other reason. I'm not in any physical ailment whatsoever. So all of it is just designed around appealing to women, right? But the women don't appeal to me. I would like I'm gonna say this right now. I would rather be single than have dated any of those chicks in that class. I would rather be alone by myself for that whole school year. Like, let's say I couldn't even ask out chicks from other schools or from the internet, whatever, than be with any of the ones that were in that grade, at least among that group of 6. I'm serious. I don't want them. Was there? I think there might have been a 7th one as well. It was a handful of them, but it was like it was either most of them. Yeah, it was most. Yeah, because I was thinking there was a 7th girl too. I didn't like her at all. She was terrible. When I graduated, I was so happy I never had to see her again. Cat chicks love the engine plant. You have standards too, after all, which many people don't want to adhere. Well, man, I'm just telling you the truth that there are just some women I don't find attractive. Like there was a girl I went to school with. She had some red hair. I guess looked nice from the back, but I didn't think, and she wasn't overweight or anything. It's like I look at her face. I didn't think she was pretty. It's like I'm not interested. And again, it's like, why is it where if I show standards, it's bad, but if women show standards with all these rejections and you're not my type and I'm not interested and I only like you as a friend, it's okay. I don't get it. I really don't understand the logic of that. So yeah, Megumi, I'm very serious when I say that if given the option between being with one of those seven in that class of those black chicks that were there or being alone, I preferred being alone. It didn't dawn on me for 5 seconds. And again, like two of them, I thought looked okay. I like the appearance of, I guess, in like the abstract sense, but I have nothing in common with them. I don't talk to them. I'm not interested in trying to start, especially when one of them has a boyfriend. It's like, I'm good. So yeah, you can have them, dude. I remember I always avoided the ones who I know had BFs. Oh yeah. Well, I told you the story a long time ago about how there was a woman who, my first week of college, started talking to me, asked me what I think of the news. We both had the same political science class. Really enjoyed talking to her, right? And she gave me her number with, I think, without me. Yeah, I didn't ask for it. And I sent her a message. She didn't respond. And I kind of like noticed this. I was like, hey, what happened? Because I was like really excited at the prospect of like, hey, this person, someone I think is attractive. I like talking to him, whatever, whatever. Just seems like great, right? It's like a good first impression. And as I speak to her, she mentions like, oh, I didn't respond to you because I have a boyfriend. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird that she would like be as attempting to talk to me if she's dating some, but okay, whatever, whatever. So like I asked her if she wants to like speak to each other after school, and she says she's gonna hang out with her boyfriend. I see her after school without the guy, so I assume she was making it up or whatever, whatever. So I speak to her, we have a decent discussion. Um, I go. This is like at the end of that second week. I go down to the area to get picked up. It's like where all the cars, the parking lot, right? And she's down there as well. And I ask her about like the homework assignment. Then I try to ask her like, hey, how come you've been so distant or whatever? And all of a sudden, this big, not like muscular, but this guy like walks up by us, and I start getting that like sensation of, oh man, what's about to happen here? And she tells him that I've been following her. And he says, what's wrong with you? Why are you being weird following people? And they go and walk over by his motorcycle. And I've got my phone to my face because I'm not even, I don't even have eye contact. I'm just trying to like hope this diffuses. And then he starts walking back, and I'm like, oh man, what is he about to do? Am I really about to have to fight someone over a woman that I like? Again, the only thing I did was speak to her. Oh, she did lie. So he walks back and he's like, look, man, she's very busy and she's got stuff going on. So, all right, okay, all right. And they drive off, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, I wouldn't mind if that motorcycle just crashed and burned. I really wouldn't, because it's like, and that's why I told you that one of the reasons I really don't like chicks is because they don't care about men. And I'm not even like talking about like, oh, you must do stuff for me, but like just think about this. Her lie, and the fact that a guy like that can go up to that school with no one's going to check him, no one's going to see what he has. I could have been killed. Men have been killed for far less. Yeah. So after that, I never attempted to have any type of kind of like semi it's, and it wasn't even like me flirting with her or saying anything like, ooh, I wouldn't be nothing like that. But ever since then, I've never attempted to have any kind of interaction with a female that had in like in real life anyway, that has like erotic subtext. Like, and remember, she made it that way. She brought up having a boyfriend when I was just asking her about the homework and just speaking about, the news or whatever. Like, oh man. But guess what? The plot thickens because a couple of months after that, She sends me a message asking me about the homework and starts messaging me back and forth. And it's like really weird. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Why is she suddenly reaching out to me again after we have effectively not spoken in months, even though we have the same class? And she says when we eventually see each other in person at school again, oh, he's been very busy, and he's been doing stuff, and, and I'm just thinking to myself, oh, so at first I thought maybe she had broken up with the guy, but because he's not as active as he once was, she's trying to like relive it. It was, man, I tell you, chicks are the worst. Well, the last time I heard from her was Christmas of 2016. She sent me a Merry Christmas message and said she was going to go drink some beer. And after that, she never responded again. My theory is that she had some kind of alcohol overdose and passed away. And I mean, hey, I'm not going to be shedding any tears because she literally said something that could have resulted in my death. So I'm not. You won't see me having any type of regrets or depression about not hearing from her again. Just a weird saga, man. Like that first week of college was the best one. We had a new love interest seemingly, and then some guy I was talking to. All the classes were like simple enough for me to get, and after that, it was literally all downhill from there. I'm not even joking. I want to write a memoir about being in college, and it's like a burning building just collapsing with each floor. Like that's how that stuff was. Like first you get this chick that almost gets you in trouble with her guy that she's with really for no reason. Like she didn't have to lie. Uh if there were any chicks in the stream, they would object to you wishing that, oh yeah, because everybody defends women. It's funny. I told Triple L about her, and I was telling her like, hey, I thought she was lying about having a boyfriend because she said she was going to be hanging out with him after school, and I didn't see her with him. And then Triple L was like, I thought you were telling me what factually happened. You're telling me you're. It's like, no, dingbat, I'm telling you what I thought, which led me to perform the action that I did. Like, only I know what I thought. I'm telling you what I thought. And you're telling me this, I'm giving my opinion. Man, that's why I told you, man, chicks are nitpick central. Like, if they can nitpick something like that, I'm not surprised that no man is ever good enough for them. You're nitpicking a recollection where someone is telling you what they thought happened and why they thought this. But yeah, that woman stuff is really dangerous. I even considered making a top 10 worst things that women did to me video, and that would be in there most definitely because that, like, I'm not joking when I say I've never had a scenario besides that relating to like a woman where I actually was in fear of having something happen to me. That's the only time. And it wasn't because I was harassing her or following her. I was down there to get picked up. And I actually did get picked up a short time after that, too. That is the one instance where I was like somewhat terrified or scared. Yeah, because when you go to these campuses, these college ones, they don't check anybody for weapons. And it takes is one lie for a gullible, stupid, romantic partner, usually the guy, to believe whatever the woman says and attack somebody that's done nothing to them. So, like I said, I'm done talking to chicks with boyfriends. I'm tired of that. Anytime one of them says they have a boyfriend, that's gonna be the last message they send to me that I respond to or like even look at. I'm really not kidding. Like the couple that I have spoken to this year and like last year, they keep that boyfriend thing to themselves because I swear to you, when I talk to these chicks, I do not ask them if they're dating someone. I don't care. God, like Triple L. randomly reveals that she's with some guy for 7 years with some warning message about she's not looking for anything romantic when all you're doing is asking the bimbo about the news. The one up at this school mentions being with some guy, and that's why she won't respond back to your messages to her, even though she's the one that gave you her number in the first damn place. Um, there's I was the two that were on Insta garbage. They brought up these guys that they were with out of nowhere. It's like I'm not I don't care. Like I'm not sitting around. I wonder if this woman I'm talking to is dating a man, and if she, because I that ship of like believing in this magic broad that's gonna come around and you're gonna build, so that's all dead anyway. But they love bringing up that they're with somebody, and it's just like I'm tired of it. Like I don't need to talk to someone who has like a partner that thinks I'm trying to become their husband or something. Like it's weird. You're a guy, you must be wanting to try to get them on a date. Oh, Megumi, you cracked the code. I admit it. Every woman I talk to, I'm trying to get with. I just have to come clean and admit it. I'm just every time I say hello to one of them or ask them about the news, it's all a desire to get in their pants. Absolutely. Even the ones I don't know what they look like, I'm trying to get with them. I just have so many love interests. I have whole schematics and schemes just to get with a woman. And if that one doesn't work out, we have this backdoor option. If that one doesn't work out, we have option C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. I'm not even joking. You have chicks that will think you want to be their boyfriend because you say hi to them. Like, we're at a point where even saying hello is considered catcalling or flirting, and I'm just tired of it. Again, what's the point of like engaging with a group of people when if you try to work with them in good faith, they think you want to be with them romantically. And even if you did, there would be no point to it because they wouldn't like you back anyway. So damn many of them think this, and it's so irritating. It is because you like Megumi, they like, how chicks will talk about how, oh, men just want intercourse, whatever. They really believe that like every guy they interact with is on some secret duplicitous mission to try and make them their partner. Like I told you, Triple L wrote some stupid comments about how 99% of the time if a man starts talking to a woman online, he's trying to become her boyfriend or so. I'm not joking. I think I might still have that text message. It's like your ego is like just pulsating out of your head. Like she should look like, what's that DreamWorks character Megamind with the giant, like her ego just jumping out of her skull because she really believes that all of these guys have this secret agenda and mission to get her on a like I'm embarrassed that I'm even around human beings that think that way. God, man. I'm just sick of it, dude. They believe that the world like every guy that they meet is like, mm, I will find a way to get her to be attracted to me romantically, and I'll do anything for her. She will be mine. Like, oh my god. Like I said, with chicks, they're nice to look at. Some of them I think are attractive. Some of them I don't. Some of them I like talking to. Some of them I don't. But as far as like having this devious master plan to get one of them to be with, I don't even spend 5 seconds thinking about that because we've seen this same saga play itself out 1,000 times, and it's usually for naught. But that's why it's so funny that like they have such an ego that they think, because how like in everyone's life they're like the lead character. They really believe that everyone around them is trying to be like like basically every guy that meets them is when they see them, when they see the woman who thinks she's the hottest thing in the world, right, is seeing like the most beautiful broad with like all of these desirable characteristics, that they've never encountered before. It's like, Megumi, damn well if you go online, you go in real life, you'll find a bunch of chicks that you think are attractive that in another reality you might have wanted to have been with. I mean, it's like it's not hard to find them. Which is why it's so funny when in their ego they think that they're like they are something special, you know? Like trying to talk to a chick in the hopes you'd perhaps be accepted to take things further and all. Dude, they love spinning their wheels. And again, like with me, I try to look at things from their perspective. Like to them, I'm just any old other guy, right? That they think may possibly want to be their boyfriend or whatever. I mean, you saw the broad that I just said hello to in an email that I had like I worked with or whatever, and told me about she was spending the holidays with her boyfriend. And I was like so grossed out by that because it's like, lady, first of all, you're not even like some supermodel. Like she's, I'm not gonna say she was unattractive, but still, it's like, give me a break. But again, when you're talking to somebody about the news and you say, hey, I like talking to you. I just hate that we always have to only speak for a few minutes because we both have different break periods. Maybe I can get some other way to contact you. And it's like I even say, hey, email. You don't feel comfortable giving a number. I understand. Whatever. It's like I even said email because I know some people like whatever. Like I get it. And even when you try to do this, oh my god, that's what I said there. When it comes to chicks, I'll work with them on something like if it's a project or some other type of thing having to do with a grand goal. But as far as like having relationships and being friends, all the rest of that stuff, just throw it out, man. Just get rid of it. I'm really not joking. Like not like me attempting to have personal um relationships, not even like romantic ones, just like having fulfilling interactions with females that aren't based around working with them on some project or for some grander goal or whatever. That's dead because they just think too highly of themselves, and I don't have the patience for all of this uh erotic subtext that they want to inject in every damn thing. Like they're so stupid they do it where when in places where there's none of it. Like I think I told you there was a broad that tried to debate me about my romantic life, and she tried to say that if I saw someone murdering people, would I not say anything, or if I saw something like that. And I was like, it's not illegal to not talk to, but it was weird because it's like this is a woman who doesn't like me romantic. Obviously, I'm not making any attempts to appeal to her whatsoever because I don't care. So why is she invested in if I talk to women or not? Like that's why I said it's just weird. And that, again, that erotic subtext. Why would a woman who doesn't care about who's not attracted to me, care about my love life? It has nothing to do with her. Just that's why I said just weird. Just a weird group of people who, if they didn't have triangles, people would call out for being a very strange poison on their male counterparts. So on that note, no, have to protect my true Jim. You know damn well it doesn't make any sense for a woman who says she's not attracted to somebody to like be writing paragraphs and trying to argue with you for an hour about your love life. You know that without me even saying it. I've come across a lot of chicks that show very weird concerns on things that have nothing to do with them. Yeah, they these guys I used to watch, they called it um well, no, I'm not going to say it's a beef, but like they really do that where they get caught up in stuff that has nothing to do with them. And I just find it really obnoxious. Protect their triangle. It's like protect it from what? I'm not saying anything to them. I'm not bothering them. Protect them from what? I told them if they think they're so at risk, block me, ignore me. Like Jesus Christ. Oh man, I didn't even notice that line behind me. That shows you I haven't turned my head in a while. They are already heavily protected, if you ask me. Dude, they act like if somebody says hi to them, they're gonna just explode in a Like the only time I feel worried about chicks from the sense of like, oh, someone might do something is if they walk alone in a dark alley or something. If they go to a mall or a supermarket and some guy says hi to them, I mean, give me a break, dude. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like it's one thing to be alone in a dark area, but if you're like in a public place with a bunch of people, come on. This makes me want to bring up how, as a straight guy, you are like least protected group in general. I told you if you're a female, you can wear whatever you want. If you're a guy, if you even get caught wearing something that's it used to be if you even got caught like wearing something that was pink, people would lose their minds. But again, we can go down the list of just how everything is in favor of females, females, females. And if you are male, you're shoved in this tight little box. Like you hear all these lines about work on yourself and go to the gym and increase your status, all this crap, man. And again, the group that they want you to do this for, they're not worth the damn anyway. Like all these overweight chicks and you have to go to the gym. All these chicks don't have a pot to piss and you have to own money. All these chicks that nobody ever heard of, but you have to be famous. Like, give me a break. I told you, it really is just a bunch of Johnny come latelys trying to suck off the fame of someone else and ride your coattails. I'm not giving them anything. But yeah, Jim, I know you're getting ready to unsub. You're mad that I gave Elder like $2. Don't worry, I only did it so he could be in the debate. I think that is BS that you have to have 20 different states worth of people give you whatever. That whole rule is just stupid to me. Now, if you're a man, you will not be protected. And I'm not saying that to be funny, it's just reality. If you are male, you can expect people to be as nasty, as wicked, as disgusting as imaginable. Well, thank God if they've really done that. Like over here, we have states where the age is 16. Um, Again, it depends which one you're in. Like here, it's 18, for example. And I can at least say that people who are like, you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't, I would never do it myself, but I can understand where the argument for people that would want to date someone who's 16 but not wait for them to be 18 is that they don't like look much different, and at 16 you can work and whatever. Like I kind of I get it a little bit. 13 is that's just predator stuff. I'm calling it out. I don't care what country it is. That makes me want to vomit. Dude, I'm telling you, I've had in some cases hours long conversations with different chicks, and I'll never not be amazed by how they can just not ask the most basic of questions. Like if I'm trying to tell somebody they shouldn't give up on asking out women, and I'm like, oh, you know, this person is whatever. It's like I'm trying to remember. There was some where, like, when I recounted the thing with the broad that you know, agreed to marry me and then reneged. I'm not even joking. I think I may have two or three different conversations where the woman who I was speaking to assumed that the woman that agreed to marry me was like my age or younger. Like they don't even ask like, hey, how old was the other person? And they're trying to do their whole like your age invalidates your opinion thing. I still think it's funny when I was talking to the one that tried to have the debate. She tried to say that my age was too young to get married, and I made the point of like, people even younger have kids, but and then she was trying to say, can you afford this and that and this, and like just starts like almost like I don't even like insulting people by saying stuff like this, but almost like someone with, I think it's Tourette's, where they like just starts mindlessly listing off various, and I'm like, Bimbo, you really are trying to convince me that getting married is expensive? Magumi, listen, and I don't know like what the rules are in the UK, but getting married in America is one of the cheapest things you can do in terms of binding yourself to another person. You can go to a courthouse and get a document signed for about $50 to $100. It's really not that expensive, especially if you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person. It's really not that expensive. All that little ceremony stuff is not mandatory. That's just something that women do because they want to put on a white dress and look pretty for one day. But no, I just thought it was funny that she really tried to pretend getting married was expensive. Dude, it would cost less to get married than it does to like get groceries for 2 weeks. I'm not even joking. Like that, getting married is the equivalent of like a week's worth of groceries and gas. Because it shows their lack of interest, it's so easy by now to tell if they are interested or not. Yeah. But you get why that was funny to me, like having someone pretend that getting married cost a bunch of money. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, if I got the woman to agree to just not have a ceremony, because like I said, it means nothing to me. Most of the people I cared about are deceased, so it doesn't have any of the near, I'm talking about. I explained it, and we can't go back. It doesn't mean as much as it would have 6 or 7 years ago. But be that as it may, it's just so funny to think that like all you have to do exactly. Um, all you have to do is go to an office, right? Some accredited office with your consenting partner. You sign some documents, and at the courthouse they have you married. That's it. That's why I said it's just so hilarious to me that people like actually put. Honestly, if I ever did another show, maybe where it's like adult characters or something, young adult characters, I would have the lead get married to somebody, and like they don't have a ceremony. They just like get, it's like a secret, like they just have documents. Because I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a 1 day thing. Like, are you kidding me? Especially with how many divorces are taking place, that's a waste of money. But of course, the woman will get mad, and so I still probably wouldn't do it. However, which one's less expensive, going to school or getting married? The latter. That's why I think it's so funny. It's like people are getting married less and less, and they are having less kids. But it's like it's easy. Like, it technically is easier to get married than have a kid, but more people are having kids than getting married. All these out of wedlock births. So I just think it's funny that like people found a way to make the easier thing harder by statistic and not by reality. But yeah, in the future, I just laugh at these chicks, man. No, like I'm not that little romance debate I had with her. That I make sure that never happens again. Okay, that is messed up. It's true. Like, if you want to have a baby well, it's more expensive any way you look at it. One, because even after the kid's born, you're gonna have to spend thousands on school and food and all the rest of this stuff. But then it's like, if you start factoring in other things, right? Like, okay, the woman is gonna have these doctor visits and the fees for that. But like I said, you get married to somebody, and without the ceremony, all you have to do is go to a courthouse, pay a fee of somewhere between $50 to $100 or 100 something, and that's it. And now you and that person are husband and wife. So yeah, that it is messed up, but it's the truth. Having a kid is harder than getting married, but more people are having kids than getting married. I'm not even joking. If my channel ever did take off, and I like got a surrogate to have my kid, that would be like the final nail in the coffin for me ever asking out chicks again. Like that would be the ultimate death blow to any interest in ever having anything with them like that. Like it would be mission accomplished. We didn't get all of what we wanted, but we got a majority of it. You think I'm kidding, man? That it like the day the kid is born, you hear like confetti and streamers raining down, and clapping, and people saying, "Let's take this destroyed romantic life of yours and end it." I feel a lot of people have this idea of marriage as a ceremony, one with the expensive venue of outfits and many people and such. They do believe that, and it's not true. They like they pigeonhole marriage, and they act like it's interesting how people are so reluctant to get married, right? But then they have no problem having kids. People will have kids with like from one night stands. A man or like a man they've never even met before that day. I'm not even saying it to be funny. That's happened. If you ask me, I'd rather have a kid with a woman I only knew for a day or get married to a woman I only knew for a day. I'd pick the latter because you can get the marriage annulled. You can have her sign a prenuptial agreement. So that's why I said we live in the twilight zone, man. Everything is topsy turvy and flipped upside down. It's so sad. But look, I'm gonna get off of here because now I've been going for almost, yeah, we're approaching 3 hours. So look, I'll be back on Monday. It is getting hot out here too. Um, and when I come back on Monday, I'll talk about something else. I hope you enjoyed the various topics that were discussed here. I know I'm not that entertaining. Oh, the child is a permanent link. It's something that, like, once a person has a kid, you are tied with them forever. You could have had a kid with someone when you were 18, and it will be 60 years later. Oh, remember your baby mama, dude? Like, that's why I said you have to, like, I'm never going to not be shocked by how loose people are with who they choose to be involved with in that way. Like, I would have to have it with, at least if it's not someone that I know I love, someone that I know is going to be a good parent. That's the only way I could be comfortable with that. But like I said, people aren't like that. They just screw, and then whatever happens afterwards, they deal with it, and it's really backwards. So thanks for showing up, Megumi, when Jem was here as well, and then Akatsuki Merchant, and have a good rest of your weekend. Take care.